The first section we're going to be talking about in conics is 10.1, which is circles. We all know what a circle kind of looks like and some of those properties of a circle. Um, Hopefully remember what a radius is of a circle. If I have a circle, there is a center to the circle, and the radius is the distance between the center to the outside of the circle. And that distance is the same no matter what point on the outside of the circle to the center. These are all congruent. The formula for the circle and what we'll be using in this section, in this chapter, is the quantity x minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared equals r squared. R, as you guess, is the radius, and the center of the circle is denoted as hk. Now, it's important to know that when we actually go to draw the circle, the radius and the center aren't actually part of the graph. They are tools to help us use to draw the graph. So if we look at number 1, we have x squared plus y squared equals 9. You'll notice that there's no addition or subtraction within the quantities of x and y. So what that implies is that it would be 0. And so when we're going through these and you're doing these in homework, I want you to really kind of make sure you understand what the center of the circle is. So we're going to write that down. The center is 0, 0. The radius comes from this 9 right here. And remember, this is denoted as r squared. So the radius is r squared equals 9. So r equals plus or minus 3, but because it's a distance, we're going to go with 3. So center is 0, radius is 3. And for when we draw these in our notes or on paper, it's going to be a little rough drawing, and that's fine. It'll be more accurate if you're using Math Excel or in Desmos. So what you're going to do is you're just going to plot the center, 0, 0, and we're going to do 3 units vertical and plot a point, 3 units down, 1, 2, 3, and then left and right of the center. This will at least give us 4 points of the circle, and we're just going to use our best to kind of connect those. If you have a compass, you can certainly use that. And again, what I want to emphasize is technically the center is not part of the circle, but the circle is just this outside right here. Number 2, we have x squared plus the quantity y plus 2 squared equals 6. And so again, the first thing I would like us to do is to find the center. The center is going to be 0, and it's going to be negative 2. Because remember, whenever it's in that quantity, it's the opposite. Our radius is going to be equal to r squared equals 6. So r is going to equal the square root of 6. Now, square root of 6 is not an integer, and that's going to be okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take the decimal approximation when we're doing this on paper, and that's going to be about 2.4, and we'll kind of do a rough estimate of it. So we're going to plot the center being at 0, negative 2. And from the center, that's where we're going to go 2.4 units. So 1, 2, and that will kind of bring us here. 1, 2.4 about there, and again down, and then to the left. From there, we'll just kind of connect those dots on the outside. And again, the accuracy will be better if you use Desmos or on Math Excel. In number 3, you'll notice that the formatting is definitely not what we saw at the beginning or with the first 2 problems. You will notice, though, that it has an x squared and a y squared. That can denote a couple of things. That can either denote that this will be indeed a circle, or it's going to be an ellipse, but we'll get to that in a little later. What we're going to do is we're going to group the variables together. So we're going to get x squared minus 2x. I'm going to leave a little space, and we're going to get y squared plus 6y. And again, we're going to equal that to 6. Now, you may kind of see where I'm going with this. The idea is to make a binomial square, right? X minus h squared. So like we've done in previous units, what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square for each of these. So if I'm going to add there to complete the square, I'll add on the right side. And if I complete the square here, I'm going to add on the right side as well. So again, how we complete the square is what we're going to do is we're going to take this number. It's going to be negative b or over 2, and that'll be squared. So that's going to be 1. So I'm going to add 1 here and also on the right. And then for the y, it'll be 6 divided by 2 squared, and that will be 9. So I'm going to put 9 here and then 9 on the right as well. We're going to then complete the square for the x's. That's going to be x minus 1 squared. For the y's, it will be y plus 3 squared, and then that will equal 16. So you can kind of see then how we kind of made the binomial squared. It's in that format that we want. That center is going to be 1 comma negative 3. The radius will be 4. And then we're going to go ahead and graph. Center is 1, negative 3. And then I'm going to go up 4, down 4, and then left and right. Oops, this should be a little bit out farther. And the last two questions are just to make sure that we're familiar with kind of the equation for a circle. If we're given the center, which is 2, negative 5, and it has a radius of 7, we just need to write an equation. So we're just going to think of what that equation is. X minus h squared plus the quantity y minus k squared, and that equals r squared. And again, we're just plugging in. This is h, this is k, and this is r. So we're going to get x minus 2 squared plus y plus 5 squared, and that's going to equal 49. And our last question, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the circle, and we're going to write an equation for this. And if you think about the main two things that we need for this is we need a center and we need a radius. The best way I feel to find the center is draw a vertical line from the lowest and the highest point, and then a horizontal line from the most left and the most right. What you can see is that where they cross right here, that's going to be approximately 0.5 and about 2.5. So this is my h and that's my k. From there, I can kind of count what my radius is, going from the center to one of the sides. So what we have here is we have 1, 2, 3.5 units, it looks like. And we can just kind of make sure going the other way as well. 1, 2, 3.5 units that way. So our radius then is 3.5. And again, we're just going to plug that in. X minus half or 0.5, whatever you'd like to use, plus y minus 2.5 squared. And that's going to equal 3.5 squared. 3.5 is 7 halves. And if we square that, that's going to be 49 over 4.